Alright, hello and welcome to another boss ranking video. With the release of Crash 4 on new gen consoles as well as Switch and PC, I thought I'd celebrate by doing another boss ranking video. Boss fights have always been a huge part of the Crash franchise, but haven't always been its strong point. However, I find this ranking really hard, because I actually really enjoy every boss in this game. So just because I rank one at the bottom, it doesn't mean I hate it. I counted 6 bosses overall, so let's see where I rank them. Someone had to be bottom, and unfortunately it's the newcomer Louise. The only mini-boss in the game struggles to gain my attention because it is a mini-boss, meaning it's over far too quickly. I feel like the game had room for maybe 1 or 2 more mini-bosses against possibly Tiny Tiger or Ripperoo. Of course, it was hinted Ripperoo was meant to appear and run it by you. Louise appears at the end of Jetboard Jetty and is quite the ugly looking beast, unless you're into that type of thing. But overall it's very easy to beat. Just guide the barrels onto her tentacles while manoeuvring on your jetboard. Overall, not bad, and it was good to see a new boss.
The last time I killed her friends, her screams were exquisite.
In at number 5 is the N.Tropys, male and female, who really deserved better considering they are the penultimate boss in the game. I feel like something was cut from the final fight because in the intro, female N.Tropy mentions what you can do as a pack.
Let's see what you mongrels can do as a pack.
Yet you only fight as either Crash or Coco. I feel like it would have been much better if Torna or Dingadal or even both got their own sections to fight them. It's cool there's a little Easter egg if you collect all the bumper fruit in the psychedelic grind section before the boss. But apart from that, it's quite straightforward. It's nice you get to use 3 quantum masks, but for the penultimate boss, it's nothing to write home about.
Oh good! You've arrived! And now for your reward!
In at number 4 is Nitrous Brio. Back on the side of Cortex? Or is he? Brio has a very complicated history, having been in the first game, but then worked with Crash for the second game. It is hinted Brio may be planning on betraying Cortex in Crash 4, until of course you beat him in a boss fight. I love that it's very reminiscent of his boss fight in Crash 1, with the green potion slugs and of course his famous Hulk mode. Overall a really enjoyable boss and the perfect difficulty for its stage in the game. I'd rank it higher, but maybe it's too similar to his first boss fight. It doesn't really bring much new to the table.
Crash Bandicoot, it's about time.
In at number 3 is Cortex's first boss encounter, because spoiler alert, I'm not sure why you'd be watching this video if you haven't beaten all the bosses, but there is actually a second boss fight against Cortex at the end of the game. I do see it as a bit of a small negative because I'd have liked a few different bosses. Hopefully in Crash 5 they bring back some old favourites, maybe Pinstripe, the Komodo brothers, Tiny and more. As for this boss fight, it's very hectic. It gets so hectic that at one point Cortex goes through puberty again.
Kill the Bandicoot, crush the Bandicoot, smash in its head.
You have to dodge missiles, tornadoes and more. Luckily you are given the Capunoir mask, which allows you to slow down time. Although feel free to take on the challenge of beating the boss without using it. It's a really good boss and really had me struggling on my first attempt.
Huh? Okay.
Put your freaky little hands together for Rocket Head!
In at number 2 is N.Gin. Even when he's the first boss, he still manages to have an epic boss battle. None of this starting easy with Papu Papu or Ripperoo. You go straight into the deep end with N.Gin. I was surprised to see N.Gin be the first boss fight, but it really lets you know they mean business with the boss fights in the game. For a first boss, this is really challenging, but at least there are checkpoints, which I do see as a positive. Considering how hard the rest of the game is, it's nice to be able to take a boss in sections rather than all in one go. In a Guitar Hero style boss fight, you need fast reflexes and timing to be able to avoid all the projectiles N.Gin fires at you. So, let's get ready to rock and roll into the number 1 spot.
Do you have any idea how stubborn I used to be? Yes.
In at number 1 is the final boss in the game, the epic finale against Cortex, his second appearance in this list of course. Cortex plans on going back in time to prevent his previous self from creating Crash in the first place. It's up to you to stop him. Not only are you fighting Cortex, but he now has control of all 4 quantum masks. This is the perfect difficulty for a final boss. It's not over the top impossible difficulty, but it's a good balance and challenge, with plenty of variety throughout. It was the perfect way to end the game, especially after all the torture you had to go through beating Cortex Castle. So there we go, that was my quick little ranking of the bosses in Crash 4. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. Who is your favourite boss, and which bosses do you hope to see in the next Crash game? Presuming of course there is another Crash game. But for now, take care and leave me alone.
No, no, no.